Hello, before we get started on this episode, I just want to say that I was recording this episode using a new piece of equipment, the oscilloscope you can see on my workbench over here, and I can show you a picture of the capture of this oscilloscope on the screen now. But during the episode, the capture of this wasn't working due to user error. Idiot. I hope it doesn't impact too much on your enjoyment of the episode, but I'll try and release it as it is. I'll try and do my best to edit it so that you can see what I'm talking about on the scope, but the picture quality isn't going to be the best because I'm going to have to be taking from this tiny little image here from this camera, and it's going to not look the best. Anyway, I'll get it right next time. That's 3 episodes in a row that I've been an idiot. 3! Rah! On with the show. Hello, welcome back to More Fun Fixing It. Thank you for joining me. I'm here to fix another Commodore 64. On the last couple of episodes where I've fixed Commodore 64s, I've made a bit of a fool of myself, and I'm hoping that this time I'm going to put that right. Before I do that though, I just want to mention quickly that Matt Desmond, the wonderful Matt Desmond who made the Des Test Switch and the Des Test Max, sent over via our friend Henry some boards. He sent some all sorts of boards to people. So Henry got some stuff and Stephen Usher got some stuff, but I got these. This VIC-20 8K cart. I think I can use this as a diagnostic cart as well, for the VIC-20. I think I need to look into that one. But he's also sent these, and these are very interesting to me. These are sound boards. So this one is, it doesn't have a ZX Sound, the original design by Charles Baldwin. Charles Baldwin. Funny way of spelling Baldwin. ZX Sound. So this is a sound card for a ZX81, and this one is YC Mozart Lives, an AY3 8910 PSG, original design by Rod Hopkins from Your Computer, March 1983. So it was a big thing back then that a ZX81 could be made to make sounds, because it didn't come with sounds like a ZX Spectrum. No speaker. It was a silent computer, and it's something that is actually currently fascinating me, because I'm in the middle of a project to recreate another sound card. This one, which the William Stewart Systems Sound PCB. This is loaned to me by Stephen Usher, and it's a project that I'm in the middle of at the moment. So I'm going to put that away for now. But it's been quite difficult to find sound cards for the ZX81. They were quite a thing back in the day. I can remember seeing them advertised, and they had all sorts of things like speech generators or speech synthesis cards and stuff like that. But I'd not heard of these two in particular, and Matt has already reverse engineered these ones and created them from scratch, and here are 2 PCBs for me to play around with. So I'll be building these up. They use different AY chips actually. There's a 8912 and an 8910. I think the 8910 is easier to get hold of. But these are going to be part of my learning process and part of the video when I come to make it on the main channel. So look forward to that. But anyway, thank you, Matt. That's really kind of you. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. Now, if you're looking to get some boards made this month, PCBWay have a couple of nice promos on the go. First up, Purple Solder Mask is completely free for the whole of September. So if you fancy a striking new look for your boards, now's the time to try it out. They're also running a big discount on 3D printing in TPU using FDM. You'll get 36% off as standard, and the bigger your print, the bigger the discount. All the way up to 80% off. I'll drop a link in the description if you want to check that out. And while you're over on their site, take a look at PCBWay's 8th Project Design Contest. If you've got something you've been working on, it's a great chance to share it with the community and maybe even win a prize. So whether it's PCBs, 3D printing, CNC or assembly, head over to PCBWay using the link below and take advantage of those September offers. Back to the fix. So I've got everything ready. I've got the C64 here. I've got a Kung Fu Flash to try out games. I've got the diagnostics with Dead Test, normal diagnostics and Des Test Max on it. So I've got all of those covered. I've also got the des test switch here, so I've got the full gamut of test that I need. I've got my power supply ready, and I've got capture ready with a screen on my left over here that you can't quite see, so I can see instantly, and it also goes off to capture, and I'm ready to go. I've got my new oscilloscope is over here. Thank you to my kind patrons for helping me fund this. This is going to make things much easier for me. This, as you can see on the screen, is connected to my capture device, and I can use it and show you exactly what's going on an oscilloscope. I'm still getting used to how it all works, but that's going to make things, rather than having to move cameras or use a handheld scope. My Zowie is excellent, but I want to show you something. The Zowie here is brilliant. If I put it on the workbench over here, all you can see is glare. I have to take the probe lead off of it. Put it on my workbench here, and the screen is just covered in glare, and you can't see anything. It's also quite small, so it's difficult for me to show you the finer details of a waveform if I need to. But I love this scope, and I highly recommend it. The ZT703S especially. I know they do a 702, and I'm not sure of the difference, but I've heard people say that the one to go for is the 703. But this is excellent. There's a multimeter and an oscilloscope. Really, really recommend this for hobby retro repair enthusiasts. Reasonable value, excellent quality for the money. Right, let's get on with it. This C64, in the triage episode, I decided that it might be a BASIC ROM, which was bad. And Paul's initial diagnosis was no boot up screen and SID. So let's have a look at that. Let's take the case off first. What have we got in terms of case clips? We've got mostly intact case clips, so I'll be careful with this one. And inside we've only got a SID in a socket, and it also said the SID was dead on the label. Everything else is soldered, which is not ideal. Let's plug it in, see what happens. So this is what we get, and interestingly, this is very, very similar to the silver label. I'm just going to grab that. I think it is. I need to know. Silver label. Here's the silver label. Just going to put it in the bottom of its case to protect it. It's in such good condition. All right, let's plug this one in. See what this one does. Ah, yeah, this one has got a different connector on it. So I have to use this one. It's only got a 5-pin DIN on the back, and this is a, what is that, a 7-pin or something? 3, 6, 7, no, 8-pin DIN. And this one is a 5-pin DIN. This is a proper silver label. So I'm going to plug it into my screen so you can see it up there. I don't want to mess around with the capture because I've got it working, and I don't want to jinx it. Right, we're on the right one, AV. So we get, oh, that's really washed out. Just turn this light off a sec. Not a very good picture, but it does actually say ready on this one. So slightly different. It's not as helpful as I was hoping. Let's put this one away. I thought this might give us clues. Right, so back to where we were. Just a normal C64 screen with no characters on it. Now, I'm pretty sure that the diagnostics uses the character ROM. I think it might be worth testing this actually. Before I plug that in, let's just grab another C64. Okay, so just to test if this one's working first, and it's got a bad CIA in it actually. I need to swap that out. Oh, it's also got the bad VIC-2 in it. Where's my VIC-2 gone? That one will do. That's 226. All right, that should be a working machine now. Okay, so we've got a working machine now. If I take out the character ROM, What does it do without any diagnostics? Garbled screen, but what does it do with diagnostics and normal diagnostics? Okay, so it does need the character ROM. That is interesting. What about Des test doesn't need the character ROM. What about dead test? We have to wait a little bit for this one. Dead test doesn't need the character ROM, but normal diagnostics does. That's interesting. That's a good data point right there. Right, this one I can show you. If I put the diagnostics, normal diagnostics on, it works. And we've got CIAs counting up, so we know the CIAs are probably good, but I'll let the RAM tests finish as well. Right, I think that's a normal result. Let's check with the diagnostic harness. All right, full harness. Let's try again. Actually, with no RAM check, because the RAM checked fine. Okay, it's coming up with the SID is bad, which is fine. The SID is bad. Let's find a replacement SID to test it. Okay, this one is actually faulty, but it's only got one sound channel that, I think it's a noise channel that doesn't work on it, but it does test good. Or it should test good. So we get, yeah, our one sound channel is gone. But this passes all of the diagnostic tests. We don't need the SID in there for now, so let's take that out in case I ruin it. One more test. Let's take the harness off. We don't need that anymore. And mark this SID as deed. First casualty. One more test. So take out the diagnostics cartridge and put in a Kung Fu Flash with the game loaded. And it works. Okay, the only thing I haven't checked is the VIC-2. And after the last video, because I wouldn't normally, I would look at this and say, well, that's fine. It's displaying. After the last video, I'm not getting caught out like that again. Let's check this VIC-2 in a working machine. A ceramic R1. Beautiful gold legs. Back to the test board. Pop the VIC out. Actually, check it's working first, because I have put chips in and out since. So let's just make sure it is. It's still working. Yep. All of the sockets on here are super loose, but they all seem to just work. Okay, right. Nothing wrong with that VIC-2. I mean, it's not a very good display, but it is working well enough. Okay, I can put that back in. All right, let's start with the basics. Voltages first. I mean, it's running and it's working. It runs a cartridge, but let's not take anything for granted this time. It's not a functioning machine, so let's do all of our proper processes. So I'm going to test over here on the 5-volt regulator. So we've got 5 volts coming out, and well, obviously we've got 11 volts coming in, and coming out of the 12-volt regulator, 11.7 volts is good. And over here on the edge connector, we should have the same, which is the same as if I checked on one of these logic chips. 4.9 volts is perfect. And then the AC voltage I can check over here on the other slot on this edge connector, 10.3 volts, all perfect. I'm happy with the voltages. Next step is clock and reset. Okay, so we've got 6510 CPU, and I've got a 6510 CPU pin out here, and pin 40 is reset, and the clock out is 39. There's also a clock in on pin 1. So let's test those. It's already running. Oh, first use of my new oscilloscope. Oh, let's try reset first. So reset is pin 40, and switching on. Perfect. And the clock, you can see on the right there, 985 kilohertz. Good clock. And the clock in will be similar. Marvelous. It's going to take me a bit of getting used to, because the waveforms look very different on this, and I'm not sure what is good and what is bad, but they all look pretty good. Okay, right, I took a little bit of a break then because I needed to work out how the scope works properly, and I think I've got that sorted now. And I can just show you with this one. I still haven't got it quite dialed in, but I just want to be able to see a similar enough pattern to what I'm used to, so that I can get a feel for what is and what isn't working. So if we just go down the pins on this CPU, you can see it's only triggering on the yellow channel, on channel 1. So it does look slightly different. I don't know how to lock those together, or just to turn the trigger off. Can I just turn that off? Or just move it out of the way? Yes, just move it out of the way. So now they should look the same. Yeah. And this is a useful thing to do to find faulty chips, is to compare what's going on. Now, I don't think it's the CPU. So my initial feeling and suspicion was the character ROM, but diagnostics is working. And as we've seen, when I took the character ROM out of the test machine, diagnostics would be scrambled, and it's working on this. It uses the character ROM. So if the character ROM's not in there, diagnostics would be corrupted. So the character ROM is okay. The kernel ROM is working. I am fairly sure the kernel ROM, fairly sure it's the kernel ROM, like 85% sure, fairly sure. The basic ROM, which actually is quite warm compared to the others. I'll get a thermal camera on there in a second. The basic ROM, it could be that, because that's what you have. You know, I'm pretty sure that basic is needed to put that text on screen. That's I think. Should we test that? Let's test that. Let's take the basic ROM out of this one and see what it displays. Okay, so let's test first. Make sure you've got a working system. And we have. And let's pop out the basic ROM and see what that does. What does that give us? Yes. Okay. Well, look, that's... I'm not going to get a better diagnosis than that, am I? It's got to be the basic ROM. Let's heat up the desoldering station. Clear a space, get that motherboard out, and pop the basic ROM out, I think. Don't you? Someone in the comments right now is going, no, it's not the basic ROM. You haven't got ESD protection. I love YouTube comments. I do try and read every single comment. I'm getting to the stage now, because I release a lot of videos. It's not necessarily the size of my channels. It's now actually the weight of how many videos I release. I released 2 videos at least a week, like an update video on a Wednesday and a fixing video on a Saturday. I also release occasional videos on my main channel, More Fun Making It. Go and subscribe. And with all of those videos coming out constantly, I get a lot of comments, and I try to read all of them, but I don't. It's just it's too much. There are only so many hours in the day, but I every now and then I'll go through and I'll read as many as I can. Oh, there's a bodge over here. I think I've seen that before. I think that's a factory bodge. Might be a factory bodge. There's no rework been done to this. This is pretty much a brand new board. The pins are not too bad. I shouldn't have too many problems. It's got that nice green shiny look to it as well, so I think this will be a good board to work on. Probably. Whoops. Yeah. So we're going to take the BASIC ROM out. That's what we decided, didn't we? BASIC ROM is the key here. Wouldn't it be nice to have a nice fix where I diagnosed the problem and got it right first time rather than going round in circles for an hour? Let's give this every chance by flowing some solder onto each of these points. Ooh, a bit messy. Oh, I love it when that happens. No heat required, that's just falling out of the board. Look at that. Perfect pull. Now, the best way to test a chip is in a working machine. This is a 1982 BASIC ROM. That's really, really early for a Commodore 64. 41st week of 1982. Right, let's try that. It's just the BASIC ROM. Wow. Well, no, I'm going to say, yeah, it's just the BASIC ROM because we managed to get it to test everything else. Very, very strange that that ROM passes the diagnostics test. How does that work? It's probably just a checksum. So 225, 227, 226. That's a red one. They always go wrong. 225, 227, 226. This one. That'll do. Get this out of the way. Oh, we need a socket. Socket box. 24 pins. All the holes look really nice and clean and clear. Get this soldered in, and hopefully this is just going to be a nice simple repair episode and I don't have to go chasing my tail. I read a lot of the comments on that on the last two videos, and it's been really, really nice to see everybody being very understanding and appreciative that I'm sharing the whole journey with you, not just the success parts of the whole thing, but also my trials and tribulations. And I think that's part of the learning process, is learning from your mistakes for a start, but also it's part of the entertainment, is the whole story. I don't want to hide anything, and I think that the interesting bits are when sometimes we make mistakes. And I'm not an expert, so I'm going to make mistakes. Very, very far from being an expert. Right. What does that do? It's going to work. It's just going to work. It's going to work. It's just worked. Yes. All right, it's a nice simple repair. Let's stick a test harness on it again, just to give it the full... Actually, no, I'm going to give it a DES test switch test, because this does like March RAM tests for all of the memory. Although this is Texas Instruments DRAM, and this stuff doesn't go wrong. But this will take a little while to run. I'll skip to the end. Count 1. Perfect. Okay, so it's working. I don't think there's anything else I need to do this, but I'm curious about that broken BASIC ROM, if there's anything electrically that we can see to diagnose the difference. I'm going to get another computer on the desk. I'll get the test computer on the desk, and I'm going to compare the traces on both, the signals on both, to see if there is something that I could have spotted with the scope. This is the earliest chip in here. Everything else is 1983. Even the VIC-2 is 1983. Just this one, 1982. Pulled out of an old bin by someone on the production line. Okay, let's get this hooked up. I'm just going to add a little bit in here to show the scope working for a start. And I just wanted to highlight the differences between the working chip and the faulty chip and a working chip. So I've got the scope connected up, and I'm going to probe the points on both of these ROMs on 2 different machines at the same time. And I have to say, going through like pins 1 to, there's a 24-pin chip, and all the pins down the left-hand side, 1 to 12, all look the same, pretty much the same. But when you go over to the other side, let's start on 23 and go down. 23, you can see there's a little bit of extra. The yellow one is actually the broken one, and it's slightly different. It's not hugely different. There's a little bit of extra activity, I think. But let's go down to 22, and that one, or there's like pauses where the signal is held high on the yellow one, but the pauses on the blue one are all at low. So there's a difference. Let's go down to 20. This is the chip select line. Now this is very different. So this, on the working one, it's being selected all of the time, but on the not working one, it's going high. And I think it's active low, I believe. So 19, just a garbled sort of nothing really there on both of them. And 18, I think, is one of the chip select lines, chip something, chip enable maybe. It might be chip select. And just some big differences there. So it's not conclusive. I'm not sure I would have spotted all of those in, live in the video, in making this video, but after the fact, it's easy to see them, or maybe it's easy to see them. I don't know. You be the judge. Back to the past. Go on then. But yeah, an interesting exercise. Last thing to check. It's the keyboard. I have a feeling that this one will just work. Is this a Petsky style keyboard? It is. Look at this. So this is the one off of this machine with these like more blocky, squarer font on it. And this is a regular C64 that you see every day with a slightly skinnier, more rounded font. This is a Petsky keyboard. These are very desirable. So it would be really nice if this one worked. This was basically a parts machine from the factory. Has it got a serial number? I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, turn it on. What do we get? Oh, we've still got the bad ROM in there. Here we go. perfect keyboard. Nothing wrong with that at all. That is a really nice machine. Some other things to note about it is the condition of the plastics is pretty much perfect. There's a slight tiny bit of cable burn there, a little bit there. But it's in, oh, this will be a lovely machine to own. It's not a silver label, but I don't think this is far off of being a very, very early machine. Let's have a look at that, especially with this pet style keyboard. It's probably a better machine to own than a silver label. Made in England, 131,900. Yeah, this is a good machine, this one. Let's button this one up. Put it in the, I've got a pile of machines over there ready to go back to Paul that I need to add to. I've got some stuff that I need to pick up from Paul. And I'm sure he's got some more machines for me. All right, replaced basic ROM, pet keyboard, exclamation mark. Fixed. That's all that was wrong with it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. You know what to do if you didn't, don't watch it. That's how you get viewers. Thanks for watching that one. If you enjoy watching my videos, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. You don't actually have to pay anything to join at the free tier, and you still get bonus content and little extra videos and things like that on Patreon that you don't see on YouTube. But if just watching, liking, subscribing, commenting and interacting that's enough for me. Also join the Retro Hardware Discord if that's your thing, where we get up to all kinds of things. Lots and lots of people sharing their stuff on there now. It's getting super busy, difficult to keep up with. Right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I'll put this one over here. Jenga!